I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah. And this is Hashtag History, the podcast for both history nerds and history haters alike,
where we dive into history's greatest stories of controversy, conspiracy, and corruption.
Hey guys, welcome to Hashtag History episode 34. I'm Rachel.
And I'm Leah.
And this is day 4,792 of quarantine. Mm-hmm. So how are you doing, Leah?
Oh, you know, I was just told that we're going to be not going into work until, for sure, through August 22nd. And probably through the entire fall semester. So I am battling that.
Yeah, just accepting the realities of 100% working from home for potentially an entire year.
I have to say, ever since I brought home my desktop and set it up, and I feel much more productive.
Good.
So, I mean, there's a bright side.
We set up an old TV monitor that we had that we weren't using, set that up on the kitchen table, and that made a world of difference, not working off of a tiny laptop screen all day long. Working on this huge TV screen made a huge difference.
Yeah, it was so funny. For a while, I was like, no, it doesn't matter. What does it matter? And then as soon as I got the screen and I have the dual monitors, I was like, oh, I forgot how beautiful this is.
Yes, it was the exact same way for me too, because Alex kept pestering me about setting up the TV monitor. I was like, no, my laptop's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then once it was blown up, I'm like, oh my God, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
So you know Leah because we are the same way, and we've talked about this a million times on the podcast. We are both type A overplanners, which means that this season has been planned for probably 12 weeks at this point, the whole season.
Yeah, the rough sketch of the season has definitely been in the works forever.
Yes. What we didn't plan for, though, was COVID-19, which, of course, no one did.
Yeah.
In addition to the obvious physical and social effects of the coronavirus, we are both extremely aware of the mental effects of the virus. We actually were just offline talking about that. It's hard, you guys. Whether you are an essential worker on the front lines seeing the virus face on every single day, or you're working from home or not working from home because maybe you've lost your job, either way, we are all facing the mental and emotional effects of this pandemic. So, having said all of that, I scrapped this week's episode.
Yeah.
If you've been listening to our podcast for any length of time, you know we like dark history. We like conspiracies. We like corruption. And so that's what this week was initially supposed to be about. But then, last minute, as we rolled into week 700 of quarantine, I decided we needed something lighter, something positive, some kind of pick-me-up. And so that's why this week we are going to be talking about, drumroll please,
dun, dun, dun.
The history of Disneyland.
Oh, I'm so excited.
Me too. Now, granted, just hearing about Disneyland may be a bit depressing since the parks will not reopen until at least 2035.
Right.
But I know for myself, and I know, Leah, you can say the same, Disneyland just makes us happy. No matter how many times we've gone, it just makes us happy. The music, the foods, the rides, all of it.
And I will say, I think I heard somewhere that Disney World is actually planning to open up soon.
I saw that too, which was really, really impressive and exciting to hear.
Yeah, even if I can't go.
And I mean, to be honest, no matter how much I love Disneyland, I'm easily not going for another year, not necessarily because I'm afraid of catching anything, but there's going to be so many flippin' people there.
Yeah. And I'm sure prices, somewhat understandably, because they're not going to be able to let as many people in, they're going to need to make up that cost somehow. So I'm assuming tickets.
Sure, and the people that really desperately want to go will pay the price to go.
Yep.
Now, I think we all know a thing or two about Disneyland, whether you've never been or you are a loyal season pass member. But I'm betting there is a thing or two you never knew about the history of Disneyland. And I cannot wait to get into it. So, Leah, I think let's start this lovely, positive episode off with a lovely drink. And before we do that, I do want to quote just one thing to really set the mood. You ready for this? Don't cry. Grab the tissues.
Okay.
Here you leave today and enter the world of yesterday, tomorrow, and fantasy. Okay, let's drink.
Okay.
I actually did feel a little emotional there.
I know. It's tough. When I was doing I'm doing air quotes here, the research for this drink, I was just like, take me back.
That's how I feel about this whole episode, is like it makes me happy and sad at the same time.
Yeah. So this week's cocktail gets its origins straight from our favorite bar in Disney's California Adventure, the Cove Bar, or as it's been renamed and rebranded now, Lamplight Lounge.
I thought you were going to say the little margarita hut that we love.
Oh, that is true. I forgot about that place. But those are really just like sugar water with a little bit of
absolutely
alcohol.
right. You're absolutely right. No, the best is the Cove.
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. What is it called again?
It was called the Cove Bar. Yeah. So Rachel, our friend Lisa, and I may have gotten a little tipsy at this spot during one of our trips to the park because, wowza, the drinks used to be strong.
Yes.
I went back to now Lamplight during our last trip in February, and I was 2 drinks in before I even felt a thing, so I think they may have lowered the amount of alcohol they put in their drinks, or possibly my tolerance has gone up.
That was going to be my suggestion.
But also, like, it's a family-friendly park, so that might actually be okay if they lower the alcohol content.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Sideshow Novelty is a drink on the secret Cove Bar menu that I never actually tried in person, but am taking inspiration from for this week's cocktail. Now, like most of Cove Bar's secret drinks, this one is a spin on the Long Island, but I made some adjustments to account for the fact that we record multiple cocktail segments in one night and need to go to work tomorrow, so I took a couple ingredients out, subbed a couple others. So this is Leah's Sideshow Slinger.
Love it.
So it has 1.5 shots of vodka, starting off strong. A couple drips, or if you're like Rachel and I, a couple pours of chamomile syrup, 1 mashed strawberry, and then lemon juice. And it says a squirt, but we both put more than that just because otherwise it's literally like a shot and a half with some strawberries in it. Yeah.
It's clear vodka with strawberries floating around.
Yeah. Looking at it, it reminds me a lot of that the one cocktail we did a while back that tasted like nothing and we kept adding vodka to it. Do you remember?
Yeah, but I don't think we're going to have to add vodka to this one, since that's 99% of the drink is vodka.
Right. Yes. So, anyways, before we drink it and give our rating, I just wanted to say that I highly recommend you all take the time to wait in line to go into the Lamplight Lounge next time you're in Disneyland. We waited about, I want to say it was like 45 minutes the first time we went.
Probably.
And my husband and I waited about 30 this most recent time. I've heard it can take a lot longer. But if you have multiple days in the park, it is so worth the wait, in my opinion. And oh my God, get the lobster nachos. And think of me while you eat them, because I cry sometimes thinking about the lobster nachos.
I knew in this entire episode about Disneyland that the lobster nachos were going to come up at some point.
I feel like I bring it up in regular conversation.
Oh, yeah, we don't have to be talking about Disneyland to
or
mention
lobster or nachos. It'll just come up.
Yeah, which means, I mean, that's like a huge recommendation.
Whoever thought of putting lobster on nachos? Yeah, kudos.
Bloody genius.
Yeah, that's so good. Anyways, let's drink.
All right, cheers.
And tell me what you think. Ooh, it is strong.
Tastes like a shot of vodka.
With some strawberry?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, actually like it better than that last drink we had.
I actually very much enjoy this. You know what I like about it? I don't taste either the chamomile syrup nor the lemon juice, but it does enough to kind of like water down the vodka, that the vodka doesn't feel so harsh. Does that sound right? Like it tastes like a cocktail, even though it essentially is like a shot of vodka. And
I remember last time we had chamomile syrup, you said you couldn't taste it either. I think it's just one of those flavors that just blends in or something.
That's right. And I wasn't able to taste it last time, but I remember what was in that drink. Was it vermouth, or there was something else kind of strong, or gin or something?
Yeah, it was
something
gin.
Else, something strong in the drink that I don't necessarily like, but it like again kind of smoothed out the taste, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah. All right.
So, what a drink to start off with, because it's about to get real sloppy real quick. I always like anything with strawberries, especially the mashed strawberries, because then you get like
to eat it
pulpy.
Afterwards.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, so something to tell you guys about my own Disneyland experiences, just real quick, because I want to give you some background. I went once when I was in middle school, but I always say that trip doesn't count because I went with a big church camp, and there was like 100+ of us in the park that day, and we could only spend one day there, and we all had to stay together.
That is absolute madness.
Yeah.
Like, madness.
No, I remember eating lunch together somewhere in the park. And I remember going on Indiana Jones twice. And that is the extent of my memories of my middle school Disneyland trip. Yeah. So, again, I almost don't even count that trip because I don't remember it very well. So the majority of my Disneyland experiences have been in my 20s. I've gone probably 5 or so times since hitting my 20s, and 4-ish out of 5 of those times would have been with you, Leah.
That's so crazy to think we've been to Disneyland together 4 times.
We have. I mean, that was like rough numbers, but that's probably correct, right?
Yeah, 2 dance trips, right? 2 or 3 dance trips, and then you, Lisa, and I.
I think 4 times. I'm thinking 3 dance trips, and then we went. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. We're
crazy.
It
is. Yeah, that's right. I just had to do the math really quick. Yeah, for sure has been 3 dance trips. Yeah, so we've gone together to Disneyland 4 times, which is awesome because, Leah, you can tell your kind of background Disneyland experiences too. I just know you having gone many more times than I have, or at least like throughout growing up, that you have been able to give me lots of tips and tricks about where to get fast passes and how to get on rides quicker and where to get the best food and whatnot. So Leah is my unofficial tour guide every time I go to Disneyland.
Which is so funny. I've never considered myself like a, professional Disneylander, but I guess having gone a lot, growing up in California, I went a few times as a kid. And then, like you said, since I've become an adult, I've probably gone 10 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just pick stuff up.
Yeah. And then Disneyland, for those that haven't gone, or those that have even gone once or so, after you've gone like 1 or 2 times, that's all you really need to like really, really learn the park and like where each little ride, each park is, and each land and everything. I just know after going like once in my 20s, I was like, all right, I got this now. Yeah. I know where I'm going.
Like it's so, this makes me sound like so
I already
myself.
Yeah, I already feel this way.
But like, it's so whenever I go and I'm like seeing people looking at the little maps that they hand out of Disneyland, I'm like, wow, like what is that? Fools.
I know. And that's why the last time, at least this last time that I went to Disneyland, I've now been like 5 times in the last 6 or 7 years. And so this last time I caught myself like a couple times really trying not to sound very like know-it-all of like,
yeah,
you're going to want to make a left here. Instead, I'm like, I think it's a left at this point, even though I'm like, I know exactly where I'm going.
Yeah.
Okay, so the Disneyland park was first opened in July of 1955, and we're not talking about it just yet, but I can't even freaking wait until we talk about opening day, because let's just say it didn't go as planned.
Yeah, you hear some horror stories, and there's some pictures from that day that just crack me up.
Horror stories. They opened the park way too early, long before they were actually prepared to open it. But before we get into that, let's backtrack by nearly a decade to discuss how even the thought of Disneyland came to be. On October 16th, 1923, Walt Disney and his brother Roy founded the Disney Brothers Cartoon Studio. Now known as the Walt Disney Company, the company first hit major popularity in 1928 with Steamboat Willie, which marked the first appearance of the cartoon character Mickey Mouse. It also was the first cartoon to be released with synchronized sound, which was mind-blowing. By 1928, Walt Disney had won an Academy Honorary Award for the creation of Mickey Mouse. Okay, you ready for some hardcore nostalgia here, Leah?
Always.
In the following 15, give or take, years, Disney continued to dominate the film industry with movies such as Snow White, Pinocchio, Fantasia, Dumbo, Bambi, Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan. He did all of this before Disneyland was even a thing.
Which is so crazy.
It is crazy. You know what's crazy was Disney was early 20s when he founded his company.
Yeah, I watched it was like, not fiction, it was like a based on the true story of Disney. It was shocking, the stuff that he went through when he was like a young kid to make this happen.
Yep. So in the late 1940s, that's when the concept of Disneyland was already in Disney's mind. It first came to him when he took his daughters to Griffith Park in LA and watched them as they rode on the merry-go-round there. That's when he first started conceiving the idea of a park where both children and adults could go and have a blast. Disney began visiting other amusement parks to gather ideas. These visits extended to places like the Netherlands, Denmark, and England. I would love to be able to tell my significant other, like, I'm doing research in Denmark at a park.
That's the dream. That's the dream.
I know, right? The first evidence that we have of Disneyland is in a little draft drawing that Disney created in August of 1948, in which he had drawn a little concept of his Mickey Mouse Park, as it was called then. And Leah, I've actually uploaded that original drawing of Disney's Mickey Mouse Park.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at it. I'm taking it all in. I feel like it is definitely a portion of what Disneyland is. Like, there's a lake. You can see what looks like maybe what is now the Main Street. And then probably what looks like, like the cars from in Tomorrowland. So, yeah, it looks like a little, I could see it growing from this into what it is.
Yeah. So what's funny is that I think nowadays we look at amusement parks and can't really see how adults could have much fun at them. I know many a person that judges my obsession with Disneyland. How can an almost 30-year-old, God, that hurt to say that. How can an almost 30-year-old love Disneyland so much? But what's funny is that most amusement parks back in the 1940s and 50s were actually more geared toward adult fun. In fact, many people didn't go to amusement parks because of all of the ridiculously intoxicated people you would find there, stirring up drama and crime.
Oh my
Isn't
God.
that interesting?
I would actually love to witness that.
Doesn't that sound fun?
Like 90% of the reason I go to Disneyland now is it's not the rides, it's to people watch.
Yeah, I love people watching at Disneyland.
Oh my gosh. Because now we've done it all. We've been on all the rides. So it's like, now
just
take it easy. Take it in.
Take it easy and take it in, guys. Now, originally, Disney wanted his park to be built directly across from his studios in Burbank, California. But in addition to other problems, this wasn't possible because local officials feared bringing an amusement park to the area would increase crime. Disney was determined to make his parks different. He was determined to create a clean, safe, and family-friendly environment.
Which is like now what amusement parks sell themselves as.
Absolutely. Isn't that interesting? When I was doing this research, that was like one thing that I did not know, that amusement parks used to be more for adults.
Yeah. I kind of wish
in the
they
40s
were.
and 50s. I know. Can we do an adult-only amusement park, please? Or do Disneyland adults night or something? Can we shut down the park to anyone under the age of 16 or something?
Yeah, I'm down. I'll sign up.
I know. So like I said, Disney initially wanted his park built in Burbank right across the way from his studio. The idea was born out of the ridiculous number of people that wrote to Disney begging to tour Walt Disney Studios. Disney had thought maybe he could create somewhat of a whole experience for these visitors. Not only would they get to tour the studio, but they could also enjoy a very small 8-acre amusement park right across the street. Disney's dreams soon became too big for an 8-acre plot, though, and his team began to hunt for a larger space. This was where they settled on a 160-acre orange and walnut tree orchard in Anaheim, California. The park today now spans over 500 acres. The park went through a couple more name revisions, starting as Mickey Mouse Park, then Disneylandia, and then finally Disneyland.
Why would you call it Disneylandia?
That was actually my favorite. I kind of
Really?
liked it. Yeah.
Oh, I know. Okay.
Of those options, even Disneyland being an option, Disneylandia is my favorite. Now, construction began on July 16th, 1954, and the team working on the park was given 1 year to complete it before opening day on July 17th, 1955. Super fascinating. I-5, which was then known as U.S. Route 101, also underwent construction at the same time as Disneyland because the volume of traffic they expected to hit the freeways once the park opened, they were expecting it to be crazy. So they ended up adding on 2 more lanes to the freeway before the park's opening day to accommodate this.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Isn't that interesting?
I didn't know. That's something I didn't know.
No, me neither. We take I-5 every single day, and we take I-5 to go down to Disneyland. Had no idea it used to be 2 lanes smaller, and those 2 lanes were added on in 1954-55 before the park opened.
For Disneyland.
For Disneyland. Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yes.
Now, it's hard to believe this because, of course, now it costs you a cool $6,000 to spend a singular day at Disneyland. But Walt Disney was actually struggling financially when he first built the park. To offset some of what would eventually cost him $17 million, or in today's money, $130 million.
Ooh.
Yeah. Disney signed a contract with ABC to create a show called Disneyland, which would be a weekly Disney show broadcast on ABC that helped promote the park. They also filmed Disneyland's opening day. In turn, ABC agreed to help offset the cost. Disney also rented out a number of the shops on Main Street to independent companies, all to assist with financing the park, which I think is a really super cool and fascinating fact that many of those shops on Main Street used to be independent companies that were not operated by Disneyland.
That is really cool.
That's so cool. It would be so cool to say I rented a space for my boutique or whatever on Main Street in Disneyland. This episode is brought to you by Best Fiends.
Okay, guys. Now, you know here on #history that we love researching and discussing some pretty dark histories, which means that sometimes we need a little something to take our minds off of all of the corruption and carnage we put ourselves through.
Our most recent getaway tool has been the mobile puzzle game Best Fiends. Best Fiends is a puzzle game that you can play right off of your phone. Engage your brain with fun puzzles and collect tons of cute characters. Trust me, with over 100 million downloads, this 5-star rated mobile puzzle game is a must-play. What's even better is that this game doesn't require internet, so you can play it anywhere, anytime. I just downloaded the game and have already made it to level 30 in one day. Is that bad?
No, because I downloaded it today and I'm on level 23, so I'm really not that far behind you.
The best thing about Best Fiends is you can spend as much or as little time as you want on it. But let me tell you, once you get started, you won't want to stop.
This game is visually stimulating with bright colors and super cute characters, plus Best Fiends updates the game monthly with new levels and events so it never gets old. Download Best Fiends free on the Apple App Store or Google Play. That's friends without the R. Best Fiends.
Hey guys, it's Rachel. Now you know on the #History podcast, we are all about girl power. Something else we are all about is entrepreneurship, building multiple streams of income, and creating flexibility in your work lifestyle. That's why I am so excited to introduce you to the Girl Means Business podcast. It's a weekly podcast hosted by former teacher turned entrepreneur Kendra Swalls. Each week, Kendra and her guest share business and marketing tips, along with honest conversations about what it means to be a boss babe, balancing a business while still having a life. For any other podcasters and entrepreneurs out there, I think you could all take something away from one of my personal favorite episodes called How I Use Instagram to Grow My Business. Or something that could come in handy for many of us during this time of quarantine is Kendra's episode titled A Work From Home Survival Guide. New episodes go live every Wednesday on iTunes, Spotify, and anywhere else that you listen to your favorite podcast. Make sure you subscribe so you get notified when new episodes go live, and check out the Girl Means Business Facebook group for bonus materials and more in-depth conversations. Check out girlmeansbusiness.com/podcast for all the details. Okay, so let's fast forward to opening day on Sunday, July 17th, 1955. Disneyland opened with 18 rides and attractions and 5 lands. For anyone that has not been to Disneyland before, the park is broken up into various different lands that all have themed rides and attractions. On opening day, these 5 lands were Frontierland, Fantasyland, Tomorrowland, Adventureland, and Main Street. Disneyland's opening day also goes by another name. For many years following that infamous day in 1955, many, including Disney himself, referred to that day as Black Sunday because everything that could go wrong did go wrong. Okay, you ready for this huge list of flops here, Leah?
I love all of these. Yes, let's go.
I know. So first things first, Leah, what can you tell me about July in California?
Well, first of all, construction shuts down because we can get up to over 100 easy. Like that's 100 degrees Fahrenheit easy.
Yeah, that
on a regular
that's
basis.
Average.
So generally you don't lay concrete or asphalt when during these months. They actually shut down road construction usually during these months. What else?
No, you hit it right on the head. July is bloody freaking hot in California. And on Disneyland's opening day, it was 101 degrees. I was going to say that I can't even imagine walking around a park in 100+ degree weather, but I definitely do that every year at the California State Fair.
Yeah. And something I will say is that is unusual for that area. Because
agreed.
It's like totally normal for Sacramento, which we're in a valley. But this was, Anaheim, which is just a little inland of the coast. So 101 probably doesn't happen that frequently.
Yeah, I'm thinking when I've gone to Disneyland, the hottest it's been was like high 80s.
I would say it's probably been like 90s a time or two that I've gone, but that's definitely not in the hundreds. So it is unusual that happened. They were not struck with good luck.
Yeah, I would agree with you that 101 degrees is not usual in Anaheim. So 101 degrees on Disneyland's opening day, exactly what Leah just said. She hit it right on the head. They had just poured asphalt the night before in Disneyland. They were going super last minute. So there are reports that women's heels were actually sinking into the asphalt on that first day because it wasn't dry. And yes, while Leah and I wear leggings and sweatpants around Disneyland, there are indeed some women that wear heels to walk 27,000 steps in one day. Anyway, we're moving on.
Yeah, no comment on that.
No comment. Moving forward. This part is really gross. At the time of Disneyland's opening day, there was a plumber's strike.
Oh, I forgot about this.
This meant that Disney had to choose between either working toilets or working drinking fountains. Leah, any guesses as to which one Disney chose?
I mean, since you said gross, I'm assuming they chose the fountains, meaning there wasn't toilets.
It actually, maybe that was like a little twist in my words. He did choose the working toilets, thank God.
That makes the most sense.
Yes,
so,
logically, I think that's what most people would choose. But because he chose working toilets, this turned into a huge conspiracy because some people believe that the reason Disney did not have operating drinking fountains that day was to persuade them to spend more money on beverages.
Which people believe that to this day.
Yeah, absolutely. Lo and behold, on Disneyland's opening day, Pepsi was a huge sponsor. So without drinking fountains, guests were forced to purchase Pepsi products to quench their thirst.
That's so interesting since now Coca-Cola is the only cola served in the park.
That's an excellent point. We should do an episode on that. I don't know the history behind that, but that sounds like some kind of conspiracy.
Yeah, when did they switch over?
That's really interesting. If one of our listeners knows the answer to that, let us know. There was also a gas leak that forced the park to close 3 of the 5 lands that it had open that day shortly after the park opened. Worst of all, in my personal opinion, they ran out of food on opening day.
Which is a joke now. That would never happen.
No, they take home like how many bread bowls are left over at the end of the day in Disneyland.
Yeah.
Now, while tickets only cost $1 a day, a staggering difference to the $100+ a day it costs now, Leah's eyes are like huge. Yes, $1 a day. More than half of the 28,000 people that showed up on opening day, which was supposed to be invitees only, had counterfeit tickets. Some of those non-invitees that were in the park on that first day didn't even bother with forged tickets. They just hopped the fence because that was a thing that you could do in 1955.
I'm sure it was just like a chain link fence.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was not what it is today, where it takes you 85 minutes just to get through the security to get into the park.
Yeah.
Famous Hollywood star Ronald Reagan, who would later become California governor and then, of course, even later would become the United States president, was also there that opening day and helped Disney lead the broadcasted tours around the park. Now, because ABC was there to broadcast opening day, this also meant that they captured all of the chaos on camera. The television crews had camera cords strung all over the park that guests kept tripping over. People lost their mics. There's footage of Disney giving his opening day speech twice because he thought the camera didn't catch him saying it the first time, but they did. So then he repeated the same words again a second time. Super awkward. There were all of these celebrities that were supposed to show up that day, like Frank Sinatra, which, if you guys haven't listened, we actually did a really cool episode about the other side of Frank Sinatra. That is episode 15, so go check that out. Anyway, people like Mr. Sinatra were supposed to show up for a special television appearance, but there was so much traffic on I-5 that day that he and other celebrity guests showed up hours late. Some 90 million people tuned in to the opening day broadcast, causing people to call Disneyland Walt's Folly.
Ugh.
I know. But obviously, all of this bad publicity didn't hurt Disneyland all that much because by the very next day, by 2 a.m. the very next day, there were thousands of people waiting outside the gates to enter the park. Within a year of opening the park, Disneyland had seen some 5 million guests. Disneyland continued to be innovative and creative. One example of this is the Matterhorn bobsled ride, one of my personal favorite rides in Disneyland. It was opened in 1959, becoming the first tubular steel coaster ever. Another example, also in 1959, was the monorail that was the first daily operating monorail system in the Western Hemisphere, according to Aaron Glover, Disneyland's social media director. Sadly, Walt Disney passed away in 1966 before he could see the Pirates of the Caribbean's completion in 1967 or the Haunted Mansion's completion in 1969, which, if you guys want a really amazing history on the creation of the Haunted Mansion and how it took it 10 plus years to be completed, I highly recommend you check out the Stuff You Missed in History Class podcast. They did a 2-part episode on the history of Disneyland's Haunted Mansion, and it quite literally blew my mind.
The Haunted Mansion is such like an interesting, like the techniques they used and everything is so interesting.
It's so interesting, and in listening to that podcast episode, again, it's Stuff You Missed in History Class, they talked about why it took so long was because the Haunted Mansion had like 2 creators that had very, very different ideas of what the ride was going to be. One of them wanted it to be more character driven and kind of more comical, and the other wanted it to be super creepy. And then the other thing that was really interesting in that episode, Disney's input on the ride. So the creators of the ride said, it's a haunted mansion. We want it to look like really decrepit and spooky and kind of weathered. And Disney said, like, hell no, not in my park. Everything else in this park is beautiful. This building is going to be beautiful too. And Disney is like quoted as saying something along the lines of, Disney staff takes care of the outside of the building. The ghost can do whatever they want with the inside. So if you look at the Haunted Mansion, isn't that cool?
Yeah.
If you look at the Haunted Mansion ride, the outside's beautiful. It's a beautiful, like, Victorian house. Mm-hmm. And then the inside is creepy and decrepit.
Yeah.
Today, more than 750 million people have visited Disneyland. An estimated 50,000 people visit the park each day.
And trust me, you feel it.
Yeah, that I was like, 50,000, does that surprise me? Nah. Today, the park has 51 attractions. This does not include California Adventure, the sister park that was opened in 2001, nor does it include the Downtown Disney District. There are 12 Disneyland parks across the world, 46 resort hotels, a Disney cruise line, and we have Disney Plus.
Which, by the way, speaking of Disney Plus and just talking about all the history of building Disneyland, I have to put in a little plug for, I think it's called the Imagineering story on Disney Plus. It's basically like a Disney promoted, directed, whatever documentary about the history of building the park, and then it moves on to like building Disney World and building Disney Tokyo and all this stuff. It is really interesting. I think it's a good documentary even if you're not interested in Disneyland or Disney anything.
I still need to check that out. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And like, it probably would have been really good research for me for this. So all of that, Disney has all of these amazing things, cruise lines, resort hotels, parks all across the world. What makes Anaheim's Disneyland so unique and so special is that it was the only park that Walt Disney himself saw before he passed away from lung cancer in 1966. And Disneyland has touches of its creator all over it. I know. So I wanted to look at a really beautiful picture of Disneyland just to really showcase the magic of it. So Leah, check out the Disneyland beautiful picture.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there it is. There she blows.
There she blows.
So it's an image of Main Street, USA, as it's called. It's the entrance to Disneyland. Looks like it's twilight or possibly dawn. There's beautiful flowers in the foreground. All the buildings are lit up. It's so magical.
I know. And then, Leah, if you wanted to check out the next picture, this is what Disney looks like every time I've gone.
Yeah, that looks about right. It is a picture, the same view. Main Street, USA, all the lights are done up, and the street is packed. It's completely full of people. The first picture had not a single soul in it, and this one has those 50 million people ready to walk in.
Yeah, it's an absolute madhouse, and that is exactly what Disneyland has looked like every time I've gone. But still, it's magical, and still we go. Yeah,
I have to say, like, the crowds are tough. It's tough.
Yeah.
Like, it's easy for me now because I know what to expect. I've done every ride. I've done every experience pretty much there is to do in Disneyland, so I'm never disappointed. But if you go and you're not prepared for it and maybe it's your first time going, I would be so disappointed. It is crazy.
Yeah, I think the best advice for anyone that hasn't gone or it's been a while since you've gone, never do anything less than 2 days in the parks because you will end up disappointed because there are things you just simply will not get to do because there are so many freaking people.
Yeah.
Okay, so to close off this episode, I'm going to hit you guys with some little known facts about Disneyland that, Leah, I'm sure you know 99.9% of them, but they may be fun for some of our listeners. So here we go. Did you know that there is a basketball court inside the Matterhorn?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Did you know every single horse on the King Arthur Carousel, which was one of the 18 OG rides that was operational on opening day, has a name?
I didn't know that. So
yeah.
Okay.
And Walt Disney himself had a favorite horse. His name was Jingle. The drawbridge on Sleeping Beauty's castle, it isn't just for show. It is actually operational, but has only been lowered twice. Once on opening day in 1955 and once in 1983 for rededication of Fantasyland, which, by the way, Fantasyland was Walt Disney's favorite land in the park. If you look closely near the Fast Pass distribution kiosk near the Jungle Cruise ride in Adventureland, there stands a palm tree that was planted there in 1896 that Walt Disney specifically told staff not to cut down.
Oh.
I know, I didn't know that, and I wish I had known that before my last trip there in February. I would have checked it out.
Yeah.
Another fun fact, there used to be a smoke shop on Main Street that was in operation all the way from 1955 to 1991.
Wow, 1991. That's actually shocking that it went that late.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to say that's fairly recent, but that's just because I was born right around there and I'm trying to feel young. Another really cool fact, there is a little apartment above the fire station along Main Street where Disney himself used to stay. Staff now keep a little lantern always glowing in the window of the apartment in honor of him.
Mm-hmm.
Not anymore, but in the OG days, some of the skeletons in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride were real. UCLA's medical center donated them to the park. This fact was really interesting to me. Disney did a lot of research when it came to the color of the trash cans in the park. They are all a certain shade of green, and after conducting loads of research, Disney found this shade to be the most unobtrusive and least noticeable shade of green on the spectrum, so that when you're looking around the park, you don't really see the trash cans. Nonetheless, there are trash cans placed within 30 feet of one another, so that the park continues to be one of the cleanest amusement parks in the world. Super funny, but some Disney fanatics obsessed with this particular shade of green will bring swatches to the park to try to match the exact shade to then take home to work on their little house projects.
Yeah, and then going back to it being the cleanest park in the world, I will say even as a teenager when I went to Disney World, I don't remember much about it, but I do remember my first thought being, oh, it's kind of dirty. And then
Really?
I've heard like all of the other worlds are the same. They're not as sparkly clean as Disneyland.
That's funny. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Because I would never use dirty to describe my experience in Disneyland. I don't think I've ever seen any trash on the ground, really, in Disneyland.
Yeah, exactly. I think that it sets the standard for the rest of them.
That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Another really cool fun fact is that the lamps along Main Street are actually 150 plus years old. They are authentic 19th century gas lamps that were purchased from Baltimore in the 1950s. And finally, last fun fact for you guys. On Disneyland's 40th anniversary, July 17th, 1995, a time capsule was buried in front of Sleeping Beauty's castle, not to be opened for another 50 years, July 17th, 2045, which is also the day when Disneyland will maybe reopen after the coronavirus.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man. Well, thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of #History. I hope you enjoyed this uncharacteristically uplifting and positive episode. We had so much fun sharing it with you guys, but don't get used to it because next week we are covering what may be our most corrupt topic yet.
Really?
I know. That's kind of a hard benchmark, but it's pretty bad, guys.
Yeah.
We will share the pictures that we discussed in this episode to our Instagram on the day that we release this episode. And then, Leah, I was thinking maybe we should share some pictures of our own trips to Disneyland. What do you think?
I was just about to say that.
Woohoo! Yeah. You guys get to see pictures of us. Finally, if you guys enjoyed the episode, do us a favor and subscribe to #History on whatever podcast platform you use. Share it with a friend and give us a rate and review.
And be sure to check us out on Instagram at #History_podcast.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I miss Disneyland. Okay. Hello. Okay. Do you ever watch Seinfeld?
Yeah.
I just watched last night. Alex loves it. The episode where Jerry is talking about the girlfriend that he has that like her stomach growls all through the night and he says, hello. Do you remember that episode? That's how I just right now was like, hello. Okay. I'm not going to do that.
The drink's already hitting.
That's how I feel already. Damn. I can't, dude. The next drink, I cannot even wait.
Oh, I'm so excited. And I have a really good blender. Ooh, it's going to be so smooth.
The company first.
That was right.
Oh, no, it's not. The company first hit. Oh, yeah. Okay, I didn't see the word hit. It was so small.
The strawberries yesterday, so.
Oh, so it probably tastes even better because the juices. And everything.
The juices. Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is why we should be recording together.
I know.
Okay. Okay.
So when are we going to Chili's?
I know.
No,
I know.
I'm not
Actually, I mean seriously. Except our group going to Chili's is going to be like 75 of us because we all want to get out so badly.
Our group?
Okay, never mind. It would just be the two of us.
No.
Yeah, I'm saying, wouldn't everyone want to go?
Yeah, everyone would want to go, but first you and I go, and then we get the group coordinated.
Yeah, they'd want to go.
Sorry, I'll stop interrupting you.
No, you're good. You're good. I feel like I'm not drunk, but I am stumbling.
Yeah, a little bit. Of course, someone is fucking cutting their lawn right now outside of my window.
Now that you say that, I do hear a small humming.
Well, luckily I don't talk that much, so yeah, finish your drink. Eat those strawberries.
At the bottom.
Was it like all vodka?
Yeah. Okay.
Mm.
Without ice, that was really gross. Okay.